Well, how's everyone doing? This is Bob Gums, and this is the Concerned Forum. And how's everyone feeling as we go through this continual, what should we call this, folks? The battle of the election? Come on. The guy lost, he lost, and that should be the end of it. But hey, this is America, right? When does anything involving sex, race, religion, uh, when is anything involving one of those subjects simply over and done with, or, have a logical ending? Come on, we can't, those subjects, for some odd reason in America, we can't, we can't use logic in dealing with that. Now, I tell you what really ticks me off, and I think it should tick all of us off. We have a president of the United States, because he's still the president. This guy, he's, twittering away, twittering his little heart out, and shooting his mouth off on Fox, who he claims is also against him. And he is literally trying to give instructions to Republican office holders, telling them that they should subvert the constitutional process of our government. And see, people talk about progressives and, a certain kind of liberal. And they say, oh, well, you guys, you want favoritism for those people in urban America. You want to basically pat them on the head. You want them to be able to get away with this and that. And I just kind of look at this in amazement. And I say to myself, well, good Lord, this guy Trump, if this was a sane country, he would have been under lock and key by now, either in the federal penitentiary or in a federal nut house like St. Elizabeth's. Now, I want somebody to tell me, because I have to plead ignorance, all right? Treat me like a 5-year-old. Get me to understand why a guy who happens to be president of the United States in a country where we're all supposed to be equal before the law, how does he have the right to get on the public airwaves and tell governors and state legislatures to not do their duty, to go ahead and steal votes, basically, to break the law? And he's doing this almost every day. He's telling these guys, hey, guys, to hell with the millions of people who voted in good faith for my opponent. Screw them. Dump their votes and just count the votes for me. I don't understand this. And nothing is done. Now, I was brought up to believe that if you encourage somebody publicly to rob a bank, that's a federal crime. Now, if I'm in a nightclub and I'm on stage and I make a joke out of it, well, nobody's going to try and arrest me because it's understood. It's a joke. If I'm sitting on the corner with my boys and we're passing around a bottle of wine and I make a crack like that, it's understood. It's a joke. But when I'm doing this day after day, night after night, And I'm doing this, and I'm saying this to serious people, to the governor of the states, right? Especially the so-called swing states, and to state assembly people, and to electors of those swing states, then we can assume that I'm no longer joking. We can assume that since I'm constantly saying this to serious people, that I am indeed being serious. Ergo, I ain't joking. I am trying to encourage, I'm not trying, I am actively encouraging lawful office holders to break the damn law. And you're telling me that because I happen to be president of the United States, that's okay? I don't get it. I really don't. And I'll be guys and gals who are right now in the penitentiary or in jails across this country, I'll be frank about it. And I know a lot of DAs across this great land are going to hate my guts for saying this, but I swear to God, they should get their jailhouse lawyers ready, and they should be marching back into court. Because, damn it, if you can have a president of the United States and a couple of the United States senators actively encouraging office holders to break the damn law and nothing happens to them, then why are these black and red and brown and poor white people in prison and in jail now? What the hell are they doing behind bars? Because you're telling me that you have not just 2 sets of laws for people in this country, but what are we talking here? 3 sets? 4 sets? You got damn Senator Graham down there in South Carolina, the crap that he pulled, he's going down to Georgia. What was that crap that he tried to pull? Telling the guy get rid of the Biden ballots, some crazy crap like that, which was purely illegal, which at the very least should be a one-way ticket for him out of the United States Senate. I mean, come on, people. What the hell? What is happening to this country? That it's okay to break the law if you're a Republican? And see, I tell you, this is what really upsets people. And there should be a serious lesson here for Democrats in general, for progressives in particular. Now, that young lady in Northern Virginia, the one that Miss Cortez and the squad and progressives in general, that upsets her and her moderates, her and that gentleman from West Virginia, supposedly a Democrat, what's his name, Manchin, they get so upset with us. I don't understand. I don't understand the rationale with these folks. I really don't. Now, we, meaning progressives in the Democratic Party, I'm going to try not to beat around the bush, but I'm trying to paint the picture here. The progressives, according to them, we cost the Democratic Party this election because we're so far out there, we're so way out that we scare folks, and that's how come we didn't do a slam dunk on the Senate, and that's why we lost some seats in the House of Representatives. Okay. All right. All right. So we're too way out. We're too wild. Okay. We're too radical. Okay. All right. Boom. I don't agree with her point, but I understand what her and Manchin are trying to say from their side of the fence, from their point of view. Meantime, you have a Republican. We got a Republican president. This guy, he wants to pardon everybody. He don't even know what the hell he don't even know he doesn't even know what the hell he's pardoning them for. When you pardon somebody, that means that they did something that wasn't nice. So when you pardon somebody, that means that they already did something. Okay, you want to pardon your family. All right, cool. What did your family do that they need to be pardoned for? What did you do, Mr. President, that you feel you need to pardon yourself for? Oh, and by the way, no, I'm not a lawyer, all right? But damn, that's kind of like a judge judging himself. I mean, so it would seem. The basic idea. Now, I took pre-law. My first year in college, I took pre-law. Okay, and now you got the number up there, you got the email up there. If you think I'm wrong, you can let me know. But I thought that the whole thing behind American law was what's reasonable. Okay, that it's basic common sense, right? Isn't it common sense that you can't judge yourself? I mean, I thought that was the name of the game, right? And if you're going to talk about pardons, well, why should you get pardoned? Why do you need a pardon if you haven't done anything? So therefore, if you are talking about pardons, like with Flynn, the guy had already admitted that he was guilty. Okay, so you give him a pardon. Okay, so that means that when the House or whatever committee down the road says, well, look, we want to find out some more about this crap that happened back in 2015, 2016. Well, Flynn cannot say, well, look, I'm taking the Fifth Amendment. Because they can't do anything to him because you already pardoned the guy, so he can't be punished. So he has nothing to hide behind. So actually, Mr. President, you kind of shafted yourself because there's nothing preventing him from telling the whole truth about what happened. As far as trying to get pardons for your kids, why do your kids need to have pardons unless they did something? So what the hell's going on in that damn White House that you got to run around trying to pardon everyone? Now, we got that on one side of the table, right? Now, on the other side of the table, we have the squad. We have us crazy progressives and us super liberals. And what do we want? Oh, well, we want to make sure that Americans don't die because of the fact that they can't afford health care. We want to make sure that people have clean air to breathe. Ooh, that's real radical. Clean water to drink. How dare we? So you're more worried, moderate Democrats, you're more worried about my child being able to get medical care without me having to go bankrupt. You're more worried about me being able to have a clean glass of water. And I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Manchin, the guy from West Virginia. Because this should really be a biggie for you. Because what is it, like about 30 or 40% of the folks in your state can't even get a fresh glass of water in West Virginia because you got so much damn pollution from all the chemicals from the coal mining and what have you? And you are calling us radical? I mean, the people that believe in what the squad is fighting for? I don't understand. I don't understand. You know? Call me childish, but what the hell is so radical about clean? Since when has clean water become radical? You see the problem that progressives have with moderates in the Democratic Party? What you're labeling as radical, it's not radical. It's not about radical. It's about friggin' common sense. Now, you have to take into account for the last 4 years, well, actually 5 years, Americans, especially in the hinterlands, rural America, they have been bombarded, they have been brainwashed. And yeah, I say that, brainwashed. And if people feel insulted, I'm sorry, but it's true. Okay? They have been fed a line of bullshit. And a lot of people are just now starting to realize that. And it happens. Okay? And am I saying that everybody that voted Republican a few weeks ago, are they all racist? No, I'm not saying that. Are they all just ignorant? No, I'm not saying that. Okay? Remember, what's the word ignorant mean? Ignorant means that you don't know. Okay? I'm ignorant when it comes to farming. All right? I'm a city kid. All right? So I wouldn't, I've been on farms. I've been on plenty of farms. But I don't, I've even picked, what was that? Some fruit one time when I was in Virginia. But as far as the real mechanics and stuff about farming, I'm ignorant about that. Doesn't make me an evil person. It just means I don't know, right? But what happens when we're ignorant on some subjects, people take advantage of us. And unfortunately, I'm an FDR Democrat, okay? And unfortunately, what has happened, the Democratic Party, great people, but we make our fair share of mistakes. One of those mistakes is that we do not get in the trenches enough. I got a friend, nice lady, and I mean, be honest about it. She's a white lady, Caucasian lady, uh, Upper West Side in Manhattan, and she's a beautiful person, you know. Um, and she was all out for Hillary in 2016. I rode the bus a couple of times with her and her friends and associates campaigning for Hillary in 2016, going down to Philadelphia. And I would raise the question that, hey, we are not hitting the urban side of Philly enough. We're not doing enough in the working class areas. And the response I got, not from her, but from a lot of the folks that were with her, was, oh, don't worry, we got that covered. You know, we're sure of these folks, so we're not going to worry about them. And I said, that's a mistake. And I said to myself, Trump is going to get this. He's going to win this one. And I was right. You know, everybody thought I was crazy. Donald Trump will, he'll never be president. And I said, no, he shouldn't be president because he's a jackass and he doesn't know a damn thing, but he's going to win. And that's exactly what happened because we ignored a lot of people that we should not have, who felt left out. And that's a big problem that the Democratic Party has. And look, truth to tell, um, being a guy when I came home after my travels in the military and living down south for a while, yeah, I know how those people felt. Now, of course, the things that I did and where I was stationed at, I knew, I know the world. I know how this country runs. I understand the economic, military, I know how things work. So even though I didn't think that Hillary was a great politician, I respect her intelligence because she is one smart woman. Let there be no doubt in your mind. She is more than qualified to be president of the United States. And she was definitely qualified to be president in 2016. But a lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it and how people perceive you and how people perceive your campaign. And that's what put Donald Trump in the White House, unfortunately. And that's what hurt us. And if we're not careful, it could hurt us again. But see, that's the big problem that we have. Now, see, Trump, I'm hoping that people are paying careful attention because Trump is showing his true colors. He's already killed over 250,000 Americans, and you see how he is behaving. When people like that lady in Northern Virginia and like that mansion in West Virginia, when they carry on about Sister Cortez, about the squad, about progressives, they missed the point, all right? They missed the point entirely. What they're doing, okay, they feed right into the Republican gristmill. FDR, and I know that was, 80 years ago, right? But certain things don't change, all right? People don't like to feel left out. Now, West Virginia, using West Virginia and Mansion State as an example, right? Those people have continually gotten the shaft. It's a poor state. It's a state that has been continually taken advantage of. I think that it probably sends some of the worst crop of politicians that you could imagine. Why do I say this? Because how in the hell can why would, I don't understand why in the hell people will tolerate living in the place that it's one of the most polluted places in the country, if not the North American continent. But yet, what politicians do you see there actually saying, you know, we need to catch up with the 21st century? We need to stop polluting our people. Now, you want to talk about, oh, well, you know, big government and, you know, people on welfare and, you know, the usual Republican mantra about, oh, yeah, well, they go in and they get the best of food and everything with food stamps and all that. Where the hell would West Virginia be if it wasn't for welfare and food stamps? And I'm not blaming those people. I've known a lot of folks in West Virginia. But what in the hell else can they do? And the idea that you have to depend upon coal mining for a livelihood, I mean, come on. And see, it's a funny thing because, oh, well, Barack Obama, he could never get any support in West Virginia. Well, guess what? What is keeping those people alive? A lot of them. And keeping those families going. Obamacare. And when Obama first came out with the whole thing for Obamacare, they hated it. Oh, socialist medicine. Oh, he's a commie. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Right? Well, guess what? Go down to West Virginia now and try and take it from them. If you dare. You see, that's what I mean about this country, and especially about the Republican Party. See, one thing Republicans are good at, my man with the that Lincoln group, that anti-Trump group, that Republican anti-Trump group, and I forgot the gentleman's name, but he was, you know, he's right. That's how Republicans have been able to whip the hell out of the Democrats for the last 50 years, 40 years, with words. And the Democrats, I mean, sometimes we run around like chickens with our heads cut off. And what we have done, we have given ourselves the shaft, because to a large extent, working class people look at us and they say, well, hell, I don't, Democrat, who the hell do they stand for? What the hell do they believe in? And see, that is our problem, right? That's the problem with the Democratic Party. Last time we spoke, last show I did here, I touched on the subject about what they were saying about you had some blacks that actually had supported Trump. Well, look, I would put it this way: you have some blacks, and it's like about TT, as we used to say doing now, TT, little bit, right? Of black men, especially among black men, who are starting to go Republican. And excuse me, black and Hispanic men who are kind of leaning Republican, right? And I said it then and I'll say it again. Now, it's because they feel kind of left out. And I know how that feels. Now, I would never go Republican because I know better, right? But that's only because of the experiences that I've had and because of the places that I've been. Remember, I grew up in a Republican family. My old man was a Republican bigwig in Harlem, but that was a different Republican Party. And I saw the Republican, the changes that they went through. The last time I dealt with the Republican Party was in '96. And that was, they were right, you know, at that edge. And what happened, they took that leap. And that leap that started back in like 64. And from 64 to 96. And from 96, that was it. They became committed to the right wing. And they just kept going right wing ever since. And I said, no, that's, as far as me being a man of color, no. I don't feel that they have the answers, political answers for making any progress here in the United States of America. See, and I think that as a black man, as an American, that to me it's not feasible. But as I said, if the Democratic Party does not learn, then you we will, as a party, we will be in the position where we will have pushed uh, black and brown men, many of them, to a position where they will have felt pushed into the Republican Party, or at the least to being independent, so that they will go, either Republican or independent. In other words, there will be no, boom, I can depend upon the Democratic Party to look out for my interest as a person of color or as a working class person. And see, that's really what it is. Because a lot of people in this country, and it's very easy, a lot of people get confused because we have had such a very bad, scarred history of racism in this country. And see, there are certain forces in America that they like to use race to keep people confused. Because see, one of these days, and hopefully very, very soon, that working class white kid in Appalachia is going to turn around. He's going to look at that working class black kid from Philly, and they're going to look at each other and they're going to realize, hey, you know what? We got more in common than we have that's different. See? And when that happens, then you are going to really have America. Serious business. I saw that happen when I was in the Navy. Seriously, that's when it happens. You see that a lot in the military. You see it happen in the military. Now, unfortunately, sometimes you see you see the exact opposite. But fortunately, you see more of it, the positive. You see a lot more of the positive. That's why I say, and here it comes. I know I'm going to catch hell for this. I think the biggest mistake that the left made, and I don't consider it to be a victory, was oh, I keep getting this dust in my eyes here. Was when the draft um, was halted. It wasn't abolished. I know a lot of people walking around talking about we don't have a draft. Yeah, you still have the draft. It's just not in use. Okay, but I don't think I don't think that was a good thing. I think that in terms of education, I think in terms of training, I think that the draft is an excellent thing. That's not saying that you have to go in the army and kill people. If you have a moral opposition to killing, there are other things that you can do. But yeah, I think national service is a good thing. All those quote unquote democratic, socialist, liberal countries, they have some form of national service. Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Belgium, they all have something. And I think that we need to go back to that here in America. That's a large part of our problem. We have this idea that hey, screw the guy, screw the guy on the other side of the town. It's all about me. That that's what gives you a Donald Trump. See, but yeah, there's a lot that needs to be done. But I just had to, I had to deal with this business about, oh, well, the worst thing the Democratic Party has to contend with is the squad and progressives. No, no. To tell you the truth, I think it's time for the moderates to sit down and listen because they are the ones that are doing all the losing. Because if you notice, the people who are fighting to expand Medicaid and fighting for the Green New Deal, they won re-election. It was the moderates that seemed to have suffered. I've had guys tell me that even if they are, inclined to vote Republican, or how the guy say it, white guy, you tell me, well, I kind of have a Republican frame of mind, but there have been times I could vote for a Democrat, but the problem is with most of the Democrats is that they don't seem to have any guts. They don't seem to be willing to fight for anything. And I couldn't say, was it too much I can say to that? Because that is the picture that the party as a whole has painted of itself. And we have to stop that. We have to show that there are certain things that we believe in and that we're willing to fight for. And guess what? Well, when I was in the Navy, I was a kickboxer. And, when you get into that, however you want to put it, in the ring, in the dojo, in the square, whatever it is, sometimes you're going to get your ass kicked. Okay? Now, how much and how often you get your ass kicked depends on how good you are. I was so. Let you know the secret. My wife was, she got her butt kicked less than I did. Yeah, she was good. She was real good. But see, that's the point. When you go into a fight, you're going to get hit. And you have to be prepared for that. And sometimes you're going to lose. And that's just the way it is. Does that mean that you don't fight because you are scared that you're going to get hit? Well, in that case, that means that you're a punk. Now, there are a lot of folks who are going to have to, in the next, in the coming months, they're going to have to look in the mirror and they're going to have to think about who they are as a person. And I'm not talking about Democrats, I'm talking about Republicans. Because the Republicans, remember, they're supposed to be the macho guys. Yeah, well, we're going to go to war and we're going to find some brown people and blow them, the kingdom come. We're tough. Let's go kill somebody, right? But when it comes to, Donald Trump sending them a Twitter or talking about them, they're like, oh, no. They pull their skirts up and they wet themselves and everything. You know, see, that's why, I mean, like Graham, for example, right? And this guy, he wore the uniform. And, how the hell, I mean, I know he was just a JAG lieutenant colonel, but hell, man, you still wore the uniform. How could you be such a punk? Spends 2 years calling the guy a clown, an idiot, and then he does a complete flip, right? Oh, Donald, I love you. Please come closer so I can I can get a better grip and kiss your feet, you know? I mean, come on, man. I know that McCain's up there in heaven looking down saying, oh, damn, Lindsey, man, what happened to you? I mean, if I had a chance to see Lindsey walking down the hallway, and I'm on Capitol Hill, and I see Lindsey Graham, right? I would do just like this. Damn, baby, what happened to you? And all this smack I'm talking now, I swear to God, I would be frozen. It's just like somebody that you haven't seen for a long time, and then you see him, right? And maybe he been on a bender, he was alcoholism or drug addiction, or maybe cancer, something like that. But they look so bad, and you say, "Damn, baby, what happened to you?" Well, that's exactly how it is with Graham. And the rest of these guys, like that clown in Texas, right? What's Cruz? How the hell Trump talked about this guy's wife like she was garbage? And I'm not ripping on Senator Cruz's wife. I would never disrespect a man's wife like that. I know better because I know what I would do if somebody did my wife like that. If my wife was alive, she would tell you, you're going to get on nationwide TV and you're going to make cracks about my wife? I'm the one running for office, not my wife. I mean, and he crawls at this man's feet. I don't get that. I don't get it. I don't think Trump is smart enough to have a private detective service or something so that he can go into all these guys' secrets. Everybody has, skeletons in their closet. But damn, look how he did that clown from Alabama, the first senator to endorse him for president. And he was, what was he? His attorney general. And he got rid of him. But he talked about the guy like he was garbage. And all this idiot, what was his name? He hated civil rights. Oh man, he wanted to give people 100 years for a dime bag of herb. I don't understand the Republican Party of today. This is not my dad's Republican Party. They're like punks. They truly are. It's unbelievable. I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't, and I tell you quite frankly, I have my own problems with Jeb Bush, but I don't understand how they tolerate Donald Trump in their party. And I don't understand the people that vote for Republicans. Why the hell am I going to vote for you to be my senator when you can't even stand up for yourself as a man or a woman? If you can't stand up for yourself against Donald Trump, how the hell can you stand up for me? See, this is what I don't understand about what's happened in politics in America. I really don't get it. See, I truly don't, because this whole business about well, he lost the damn election. Okay, well, let's give him time to adjust. Give him what? Screw him. Hey, man, you lost the election. The majority of the people of the United States of America found you to be a goddamn jerk. So it's over. And to tell you the truth, most of the elected Republican officials, I would say more than half, 2/3, are happy as hell that you are out of the White House. Because that way they don't have to put up with your craziness anymore. They're afraid to come out and say it. See, this is what happens when when you believe that you can manage hate. Since 1964, the Republican Party thought that they could, what's the name of that boy? But him, Nixon, um, and a few others, Phillips, um, not William F. Buckley. Buckley was his own man. But you had a few others. Um, O'Brien, not O'Brien, but a few others, right? The guy that helped create Fox into what it is now, they thought that they could use white male Democrats who were angry at the Democratic Party uh, because the Democratic Party had been changing since the early 30s on civil rights and being against uh, legal segregation, right? And by the time we get to like the 50s, that was it was Katie bar the door. The whole thing about Jim Crow, that was it. Because we had one World War II, the whole world saw what the Nazis has done. Uh, with the gas chambers and the trials in Nuremberg and what they had done to the Jews and not just the Jews, but especially the Jews, but also to liberal Catholics, uh, gypsies, political opponents, and the whole racial theory of superior race and all this kind of crap. And that was it. Plus the United Nations had come into being, and you had more and more people in American politics that said, no, we can't. Um, we cannot support legal um, segregation in America anymore. And where it exists, we have to start condemning it. That's what led to, Jackie Robinson in 47 with the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Brown desegregation in public schools and all that stuff that came in. And then, of course, the young brother that was beaten and drowned, and his body was so savaged. And when she took her son's body up to Chicago and kept the coffin open, um, what's his name? Tillis Tibbs. Um, all these things in the 50s and 60s. And of course, Rosa Parks and the bus boycott, Martin Luther King, all these things. Um, so any intelligent person, in other words, any intelligent person saw that the days of legal segregation in any part of the country was rapidly coming to an end. And because of Jack Kennedy and his phone call to Coretta King when Martin was locked up, and this was during the height of the 1960 election, and Kennedy called to check on Martin Luther King and to assure Mrs. King that there were big eyes on Martin in that little, what was it, Alabama jail, so that he wouldn't disappear in jail, which happened to black men so often, especially troublemakers down south. Nixon had a chance to call, he didn't, and Jack Kennedy did, and that put the Democratic Party on the road to fighting legal segregation. So you had all these angry white Southern Democrats feeling that they had no place anymore in politics. And so these guys uh, felt that they had an opportunity to, how should we say, harvest these guys for the Republican Party. And that's exactly what they did. And it was Strom Thurmond, who was a Democrat, big Democrat, and then he became a Dixiecrat, and then he became a Republican right there in South Carolina. And that was the story. And the Republican Party started going through changes. Uh, you had a Republican Party that was centered in New England and the Midwest, upper Midwest, until now the heart of the Republican Party is in the South. And it's hard to find a Republican in New England. That's why it was so important for that lady senator up there in Maine um, to keep her seat because of the fact that you really don't have that. Very rarely do you find a Republican in New England. And all that is a result of the parties changing. See? There is a very good possibility that this may well be the end of the Republican Party as we know it. Donald Trump may have actually destroyed the Republican Party because of the fact that his shenanigans and his visceral hatred for everything that America supposedly stands for, uh, that you cannot have a major political party based upon hatred. Uh, Not the party of Lincoln. It can't last. Now it could, how should I say, it could morph into something else, but it cannot continue to be the Republican Party. Where it goes from here, we don't know. Just like the Democratic Party, I think that you're going to see, like this guy Manchin. How long will he stay with the Democratic Party? How long will some of these so-called Democratic moderates? How long will they be with the Democratic Party? Because the Democratic Party, they keep talking about left and right. I think the Democratic Party is heading for the left because you have more people of color coming up. You have more younger white folks who are becoming educated. And to be quite frank about it, people are tired of being hungry. And if the Democrats if we're smart, we will take advantage of that. We need to reach out, like I said before, to the white working class and end this crazy racial nonsense. Because we all have to eat. You know, we all want our children to live decently, for God's sake, and that's what's important. And I'm just let me chill out here for a second because I hate people, I hate it when people don't take advantage of things that are just basic common sense. Now, we have a situation here, right? A president of the United States inciting violence against elected officials who are just doing their job. Why should he be allowed to get away with that? Where is Nancy Pelosi? See, to a point, I understand this business about, you pick your fights. But sometimes you don't, sometimes being strategic is not always the correct answer. You have a guy that is basically, you might as well say, practically in the pay of a hostile nation. And this is not me going off on a tangent, on some kind of anti Russian tangent, okay? The present government in Russia does not favor democracies, okay? He wants to bring Western Europe under his thumb. That's what he wants. He wants to put the band back together, okay? Meaning he wants the Soviet Empire. He thinks that the worst thing that happened to the world, especially the Western world, is when the Soviet Union was broken up. He thinks that the key to that problem is the United States. So, what does he think is the best thing that could happen? He thinks the best thing that could happen is that the United States, if not destroys itself, at least keeps itself in such a state of confusion through uh, economic strife or racial strife that we will be so busy tearing each other apart that he will have a free hand to do what he wants to do in both Western Europe and the Middle East. How does he accomplish that? By having a buffoon in the White House like Donald Trump and having a political party that will more or less guarantee, aha, so this thing actually works. So that he will be able to basically to guarantee that he'll have a free hand in terms of foreign policy. That's why he's overjoyed when he had, remember when Donald Trump was constantly tearing down and attacking our allies, Germany, France, Spain, right? Our NATO allies. Oh, Putin loves that. See, he truly enjoyed that because that keeps the Western world in pieces, in disarray. Now, I wonder, especially Americans in rural America, right? That is why. See, this is, I just want people to sit down and think about this. What is one of Trump's favorite war cries? Oh, I just love non-college educated people. I love non-college educated voters, right? Now, those are his exact words. Now, why would an American president or somebody that wants to be an American president, why would he run around our country cheering the lesser educated voter? Now you ask yourself that question. Is that something that an American politician or an American president, is that something that they should be saying? Doesn't it make more sense for an American president to emphasize education? As a parent, I mean, oh gee, I hope my son or my daughter grows up to be lesser educated than I am, right? I mean, come on, man. People, we have to stop acting like what was that in school? Pavlov's trained dog. You know, you ring a bell at a certain time, and that makes the dog's mouth water because that bell, that sound tells him, or his brain tells him, hey, it's time to, it's close to the time to eat. Well, that's what has been done to our politics, right? That's what the Republican Party has done to American politics, with the dog whistle. We have to, how they, in their way of thinking, we have to keep the hatred, the animosity going between blacks and whites, and between Hispanics, and between Native Americans and all this kind of stuff. We have to keep them all hating each other. Because if they stop hating each other, well, gee, if they stop hating each other, they might take a minute and start talking to each other, and then they might realize that we, the Republican Party, we're actually full of crap, and that we're the one responsible for their, for their lousy quality of life. And that is especially true for folks that live in rural America. Because if you notice, most of the representatives for rural America are Republicans. And most of the poor people, most of your really bad quality of life is experienced by people in rural America. And most of those folks are represented in the House and in the U.S. Senate by Republicans. So what does that tell you? That tells you that these are the folks that are responsible for your problem. Now, I know, yeah, we're all Americans and we believe in the rugged individual, that you are responsible for your life and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's true up to a point. Because this is not 1830, where you take your rifle and your axe and you go out in the wilderness and you can chop down your own tree and catch your own fish and build your own log cabin. We don't live in that kind of a world anymore. To tell you the truth, we never really did, but especially not now. We are the only country, we are the only developed nation where people do not really get the kind of help from their government in terms of health care, in terms of education, in terms of quality of life, infrastructure. Believe me, we're the only people that live like this. And we need to start asking why that is. Why is it that we have such a poor quality of life in comparison to other Western nations? Why is it that Germany and Belgium and France and Spain and Italy and Ireland, why is it that these people can have a month vacation every year? Why is it that they can have time off. I mean, real time off when they have a new child in the family. Why is it that they have a lower death rate than ours? Why is it that a working class woman in Spain is much safer having her baby there than if she had it in Arkansas or Alabama or Mississippi or South Carolina? Why is it? Somebody needs to ask Lindsey Graham, why is it safer for a white working class woman to have her baby in Ireland or Italy than it is in Florence, South Carolina? So don't tell me about this nonsense about the war on Christmas. Answer me that question. See, that's the problem here in America. Too many false arguments about nonsense. Well, as we go into this new year, the Concerned Forum is going to try and answer some of those questions about the things that we really need to know about and not the BS. Oh, and by the way, we also come on YouTube. Do us a favor. You see us on YouTube, check that box that you've seen the show and that you like it, because we really want to try and get something going here, because we need to bring about change in this country. And by golly, that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to get it done. Listen, thanks for letting me visit. See you next week, same time, same channel. Bless you all. And stay safe. Have a good one.